I'm with Venom. Guys, welcome to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool
Excited to be here?
Always, fucking hell, yeah. Only here last month. We live here now.
Tax exiles.
Oh God, oh God. Okay, well, let's start talking about, such an iconic band and, what can I say? Nicknames, for example. You were the first ones on, using nicknames. I know there's a lot of bands that are copying that.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Well, it's flattery, isn't it? When people copy you, it's a sign that you're doing something good.
Yeah.
We always just started because we wanted to do our thing. I used to work in the studio and bands used to come in and they wanted to sound like Judas Priest or AC/DC, And I used to think, why don't you want to sound like yourself? I've been a rock fan forever and, I've always thought, why doesn't Ozzy Osbourne sing like more satanic? Why doesn't Motorhead get even heavier? Why don't Judas Priest wear more studs? And, so I thought I'd make my own band that does that. If something's not out there, you may as well create it yourself.
Yeah, well, you create trend, and definitely it's like that. You create different trends in all your career.
So say the Legions.
There's also one thing, you're the pioneers of black metal. And by the time that you start with this, I would like to know how you came out with this idea of this sound.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Live in colour.
Man.
Live in colour.
Yeah. They used to put Michael fucking Jackson songs in the heavy metal charts in the magazines.
It's true.
Yeah, and so, I said, this is bullshit, you know what I mean? If he's in them charts, I don't want to be in those charts.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, we are power metal, death metal, speed metal, black metal, and it stuck.
Yeah.
So it just seemed to be so iconic, and that was the one that stuck above all the rest,
You also, after you came out, there was a lot of bands like Metallica, like Exodus, that, follow your lead. But they receive all this credit and all this popularity from their press and everything.
They did eventually develop their own style. People say, that first Metallica album sounds like the first Venom album, and that's where they started to get their ideas from. Then they developed their own style and went out and put a lot of hard work in, and fucking, the rest's history. So, it's great that, they started off wearing Welcome to Hell shirts, and, we used to find it really difficult finding bands to tour with because there wasn't a lot of bands like us.
Yeah.
So when the Metallicas and the Slayers and the Exodus, when they came along, it was great because then we could put a proper package together that we knew the crowd would be into.
Yeah.
Because it was pointless us going on the road with like some lame rock band, from the 80s who, was the crowd, we did it. We took some bands out in the early 80s, the crowd spat on them.
Yeah.
So it was great when these other bands came out.
It's really curious because at the beginning you were so criticized by your sound, and then all these bands came out doing something similar.
Yeah, they only took one side of it as well. They took the speed. They didn't take the whole package of what Venom was. Venom wasn't just about the speed. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what's the album that fans usually ask the most for you guys to play in?
Very depth.
Really, the new one?
Yeah.
We've got a whole the Legions go back, from the start, obviously, but we've got these young kids now in the teens, in the 20s, in the 30s, who their Venom is us now. Their Venom is the new stuff, the last few albums, and they absolutely love it. It's
That's a great thing. That means that you're going on the right path again, huh?
We didn't like black metal.
The promoter, we did a gig in Belgium, and the promoter's son came up and he was like, I really have to apologise. And we said, what's coming next? And he was like, I like your new albums better than I like black metal. And we were like, hey dude, whatever,
Wow.
But we're starting to see now with the new songs like Pedal to the Metal, Grinding Teeth, kids are starting to do pits during them songs, they're listening to the older songs, and then when the newer tracks, which is more something that they can latch onto because it's more what they're into, they're starting to do pits and stuff like that for that, which is just absolutely awesome,
It is. It's a really good sign
always
as well.
going forward, never looking in the past.
That's great. Looking at the past, what's the song that you hate to play the most that fans are still asking for when you are on stage?
None really. None
of them? There's not one that you say, oh my god, I don't want to play this again.
We don't play them ones.
Yeah, we just wouldn't do it. If we're standing there going,
we pick the set, it's not like we have to, no, not that one again, we pick the set, so,
We do look at the social media and say, when they say, I want to hear this, want to hear that, and then we'll incorporate that in the set. But there's no songs that we hate to play, really. We'll play any of them.
That's great. That means that you love what you're doing, and that's.
Well, that's the thing with this lineup. We can play every album, every song. It makes no difference to us.
Not so long ago, like a fan-picked set. The whole set was it was a competition in a magazine, and the fans picked the whole set, and we were thinking, shit, you know, what's this going to be like? And it was great. And majority, it was the past 2-3 albums, and obviously mixed in with some more songs that haven't been played for a long, long time. And it was great, you know, great fun. So
really interesting, yeah.
That's a good idea, actually. I think it's great. Other thing, this Dave Grohl, he declared that one of the biggest influence of his whole career is Venom. And, you know, when he was with Nirvana in the drums, whatever, but now he's the frontman and he's on Foo Fighters. What do you see, you know, similarities in between Foo Fighters music and Venom? Because it's quite different, you know?
No, it's the same, really. I mean, you know, Dave comes from the heart, you know, he's a musician. And he just loves the music he plays. Now, okay, he's playing a music that's a bit more commercial than Venom, you know, but that's the whole thing about what we created was, you know, everybody has got to find their niche, their little angle, you know, and, you know, he started off in Nirvana, but he was, before that, listening to the Slayers and the Venoms and all those bands, and he's just a musician. Now, when you get a musician of that caliber, who will cite Venom as one of his influences, you know, it makes people sort of pay attention and say, oh, what's this about fucking Venom?
What's Venom? I never heard it.
So it's always a good thing. I mean, you know, Phil from Pantera and, you know, Down, and, you know, he was the same, you know, he came forward, you know, I'm fucking welcome to hell, man, you know, and it's great that these people have got the balls to stand up and say what they like, you know.
You know, that guy, the connection, obviously you can tell he's a powerful person, the way he plays. The way he plays drums, God, he's like, slays them, you know, he really, and it's passion. If you play with passion, no matter what style of music you are, if you play with that passion and you're good at it, you're going to be fucking good, you know.
Dave's metal through to the core.
Yeah, he is. You can tell. He goes for it, you know, 100%, and that's what, he nails it, you know. And that's
Great answer, though. Great answer. Okay, we consider that Venom somehow, by the press, has been very ignored and even, I don't know, mistreated.
I think that's just a British thing.
But what do you think is that? It's because you never.
It's just a British thing. A lot of British press don't like bands getting bigger than they think they should be.
Yeah.
There's loads of bands who are like awesome British bands who never get to the level that they deserve because the press go, all right, we've built you up to this level, you're not allowed to get any further. Politics and just bullshit, you know.
It's a British thing, isn't it? You know, you've got to be able to sort of be grounded. You've got to be able to take it on the chin. You know, the press think like, you know, okay, another English group, okay, we're gonna give you a hard time and see if you can handle it, see if you're man enough to be able to deal with it. The thing is, we're still playing rock and roll, and those guys aren't working anymore, so fuck them, you know.
It's like a challenging the band just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all they did was rubbish themselves because eventually the kids are like, oh, I'm not reading that guy's review because he's a dick. You know, so they just put themselves out of a job.
And then you get like people who do review gigs who weren't even there. Yeah. You know, putting songs in. It was like, didn't play that song, didn't do it. Dude, where were you?
You know, magazine to do a gig review, but they didn't even turn up to the gig.
Because I have this little theory that maybe it's because you never access to, I don't know, well, I'm not going to talk about you, but cut your hair, for example, you know, or maybe, I don't know, you didn't record any song with Beyonce or Lou Reed, and maybe that's why, you know, you've been a bit ignored.
It maybe happened in the past, but I think, I mean, we've just been reading a review of the Bloodstock gig from Metal Hammer, and they were just saying how awesome it was. So I think a lot of it's turning around. Because we're not resting on our laurels, we're not looking at the past, you know what I mean? We've got respect for what's happened in the past, but Venom's always been a band who wants to go forward. You know, it's not about what happened last week, it's what happens next week and the year after that and stuff. And I think a lot of the press, Metal Hammer, like Metal Rules and stuff like that, they're turning around and they're seeing that it's an honest band who gives 100% on stage and mean it. Yeah.
You know, we're not just sort of playing the first couple of albums, you know, in some dingy little club because, you know, that's a tribute band.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a band that's sort of writing albums for tomorrow and getting out there and coming up with new ideas. Venom have always been controversial. Venom have always done something new, surprised people. So I don't see the point in just playing those first couple of albums. Apart from the fact that majority of the people who like those albums are our age and don't probably even go to gigs anyway. You know, the fans who are coming to our shows are all shouting for the new albums. So, you know, still doing what Venom have always done.
You'll see tonight who the most important people are, and that's the fans, the legions. I mean, they're our press. They speak for what we're doing. You know, it doesn't matter what somebody writes
They're
in a
the ones
magazine.
that judge.
It's the kids who turn up and the kids who give.
Social media, isn't it? Because the kids can now review it themselves. And the kids who trust each other, oh, you went to that gig and saw that, oh, so did I, yeah, it was great, it was shit, it was whatever. They trust themselves now rather than some fucking dickhead in a magazine who's going to write a shit review because you didn't buy him a bottle of champagne and lick his fucking butt, you know?
The kids, you know, and they want to see a good show, and they'll tell people about it. That's the people you want. You're not. It is.
Okay, well, guys, so talking about keep going forward, I will let you rest because you're going to jump on stage now, and I know there's a lot of people there waiting for you. So this was Shadia and the crazy Venom group here for If You Like